You know, on second thought, maybe I should just stance the Aztek. No. Hey guys, welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today, as this is the video where we are finally going to be putting two new front struts on the front of this delightful 01 Pontiac Aztek GT. I'm not doing the struts today because I don't have them yet, but in this video, before the video is over, we will be installing these struts on the front of the Aztek. But in this portion of today's vlog, what we are going to be doing is I'm going to show you guys what I've been doing over the last couple of days to prepare for said new struts. And this basically has to do with the strut towers. So if you have not been following my progress with the Aztek, when we took off the struts, which I will show you guys here again, we'll take a look at them again. But when I took the struts off, the towers, particularly the passenger side tower over here, well, a lot of rust, a lot of flaking stuff. That particular strut is what broke, which is why I'm replacing these struts, because the strut mount was so rusty it broke off while it was still attached to the car. And yeah, so a lot of rust, and I was, kind of concerned about how it looks. Not only really not the look aspect of it, but the structure. It just looked bad. And once I got the struts off both sides, there's still, in my opinion, it still felt like, there was a lot of structure there. I'd knock on some things and a couple of little flakes would come off, but nothing on the actual structure was like falling apart. So finally, my friend came over the other day, and I wanted him to take a look at it, and he says there is a lot of meat on that structure, so I have nothing to worry about. He says just try to clean the rust up a little bit. It's mostly all surface rust, but so he said just clean it up, and we'll paint over it. So what I ended up doing is I was gonna try to clean it up by hand first, but it wasn't working out. So he lent me a like a Dremel tool type thing, and what I tried to do, I mean, where the strut towers are, it's a very challenging place because it's under the windshield cowl, and you can only get so much under there before you run out of room. But this tool was small enough, and blindly I was just trying to clean up all of the surface rust and try to chip off anything that I can, try to get the surface looking a little bit better. So once I did that, I also went underneath to the bottom of the towers where more rust and ugliness just kind of sat, and again tried to sand and clean up areas where the actual strut is going to sit underneath the tower. It was a little more challenging, and I tried to do what I can with what I had, but yeah, I think eventually it did look, slightly better and whatnot. Now, he told me it doesn't have to be perfect, because, it's not going to be perfect. There was still, it still had more rust, like, the coloring and stuff still looked rusty, but, it didn't really seem like it was going to be too big a deal, he says. So once I sanded and got all that stuff off of there, or tried to get all that stuff off of there, he told me that I'm going to have to try to clean the areas, where we just sanded and stuff, make sure all the surfaces are pretty clean and whatnot. So I didn't really have anything like mineral spirits or such. I really didn't want to use soap and water because water probably would have just brought the rust back. But I did have some brake clean. So, I sprayed some brake clean, and then I just took a clean, soft rag, and I just tried to wipe up the surfaces on top and underneath. And, it seemed to be okay. So we wiped up the brake clean. It was dry. Well, I let it kind of sit for a little longer before I did anything else to it, but made sure it was kind of dry. And then starting with the passenger side, I went ahead and sprayed some Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer on the top and on the bottom of the strut tower. I particularly bought the Rusty Metal one because, you know, since there was probably still going to be rust there, and I was right, we didn't get it all off. But, you know, that is supposed to kind of stop the rust from spreading. It's oil-based, and obviously it's going to allow the paint to adhere to the surface also. So it started getting dark, and I wasn't able to really paint the or do anything to the driver's side until the following day. So I did the same exact stuff to the driver's side, and we used the little tool to sand. We went on the bottom to try to do some sanding, and the driver's side tower really was never as bad as the passenger side, so there wasn't really a whole lot to do. I probably didn't have to do as much as I did to the driver's side, but I did it just as a precaution because I really hope that I'm not going to have to take the struts off after this. If I have to for whatever reason, then, you know, so be it. Really not that hard. Not really that hard to do. There's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into it, but it's not that difficult. But I'm just hoping I can prevent this to not have to do anything like this again. So then yesterday I painted the passenger side tower finally with some blue Rust-Oleum paint. Also, you know, it's oil based, so it should keep the rust from coming back. It's not the same blue as the Aztek. It's not going to be seen also, so I don't really care because you're not going to really see that tower anyway once everything is put back together. So I don't care. I just wanted something to cover it up and obviously protect what's, you know, left of the good metals and stuff that's on that tower. And then after I painted that yesterday, again, you know, after I did the sanding and stuff, I primed the driver's side strut tower. So there, I think I pretty much just gave you guys the rundown on what we did. This is the first time I've been out here today. So today, we're going to pop the hood. I want to see how the paint has dried on the passenger side, and we have to paint the driver's side. I left it outside, but I got my spray paint out there. So let's take a look to see how things are today. One other small thing I did do yesterday is the door is slightly quieter now. I decided to spray the hinges, which don't look the best, but hey, they work. There used to be a really obnoxious creak, and that hinge up there still makes a pop noise, but it's a little softer than it was, so I don't really care about that, but it just used to creak, and it was annoying. So finally, I decided to spray that. The door moves a whole lot easier now too, actually. Not gonna lie, I really like that blue. I like it a lot. So, here's where we're at today with our paint. Now, it looks like some stuff fell onto it, but that shouldn't be that big a deal. There's only so much room I can see. Oh, it's soft. Okay, so it doesn't feel tacky or anything. I think it's fully dried. It's very hard to kind of get into these areas here. None of this really came off with the tool. Feels like it could, but nothing really came off. So I'm assuming it's okay, but I think what I might do is maybe just give it a second coat just to be safe. But yeah, because I kind of laid that on pretty thick, I think. I also did the bottom, as we seen, and that's how the bottom looks. So I could still see some areas where it looks like the paint really didn't get into, the paint or the primer. But again, none of that was coming off with the tool when I was trying to scrape all the stuff off. So again, maybe we'll give it another coat of the blue, just to play it safe. And then here's the primed driver's side tower. Look at all that. I really don't care, obviously. I mean, like I said, you're not really going to see any of the stuff back there. Underneath here, same thing. Yeah, you see a little less cracks on this side because this side there really wasn't a whole lot wrong with this side. This side looked a lot better than the passenger side. You're probably wondering, why didn't I just paint the underside of these black? Well, to be honest, I really didn't care. I just want something on there because, like I said, you're not going to see that. Even when the strut is actually on there, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of that anyway. Maybe, you know, you'll see some of that after spray, but you're not going to see the actual, you know, thing. Okay, so I added the second coat to this tower here. Tried to get it from, or keep it from running, at least try to keep it from looking so runny anyway. So that's done. Underside doesn't really look any different, just more paint. We got the driver's side painted. So first coat on the driver's side. I really tried to lay it on thick back there just because I can't see, but I'm assuming it's all covered. That's all I can do, because you can't see anything, you can't really get to it, you know. And we did the underside, so that's covered with the first coat. Once it dries, that side should be done. Shouldn't have to worry about that side at all. And then tomorrow, when that dries, we'll do a light second coat on the top and bottom and go from there. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I really like this color blue. This is what is this called? Sail blue. This is nice. Okay, so like I said, let me show you guys these struts if you have not seen them already. Here they are. So these are what came off of that Aztek. This is the test spray that I did before I painted anything yesterday or the other day. So yeah, these are what we pulled off of the Aztek. Pretty sure these were the original GM struts from 2001. Technically 2000, because my Aztek was made in, I think, October of 2000, somewhere there. But as you can see, this strut, that mount's completely gone. So that's what happened. It just rusted off in the car. The spring shot up and went into the bottom of the strut tower. And it wasn't until I moved the car for the first time, it just popped right off. So yeah, these are in bad shape. You can actually pull these apart. I'm pulling them with just my fingers. I mean, that's not good. So yep. So that was the original culprit, the passenger side. The driver's side, I think, leaked. It looks like it might have leaked out at one point. And the tower, or the mount, is still intact, but it doesn't look too good either. So I was really concerned about this thing breaking off on me when I was removing it from the car. I ordered a kit of compressors, so we compressed these, and I was originally going to take the springs off of this one, or take the spring off of this one, because I didn't want to leave it out with it under pressure, and if this mount gives away and then someone gets hurt, or if it, you know, I was just kind of concerned about doing that. So a friend of mine, you know, when he came over to look at the towers, he brought his cutting tool, and we actually cut the spring in 2 different places while it was in the thing. So yeah, the spring is obviously no longer an issue, and obviously no good. So that is what came off of the tech, if you haven't seen it already. And we will just be sending these to the scrapyard when we do the scrap run of getting everything from the tech out of here. Yeah, that's sad. Ah, what have we got here? So, struts are here. So you probably saw on the box, it's got rockauto.com tape all over it. For a long time, people have been leaving comments and stuff during this whole Aztek process, this rebuild process, and they've been, a lot of people have been suggesting to do rockauto.com, and I honestly didn't want to do, like, I think I've mentioned this before, I don't like waiting for stuff. You know, if I need a part, I'd like to have it the same day. But, you know, when it was coming time to do these struts, I was kind of looking at various options, various routes to take in order to get some of these struts. I did say originally that, you know, I was either going to buy used struts and, you know, go that route, but then I decided not to do that. I was going to order just the struts and the mounts themselves, and we were going to keep the springs, but as you can see, you know, we had to cut the one spring, so I just decided to go against that. And so then I decided, you know, we're just going to order some quick struts. And when it came to that, you know, price-wise, you know, I obviously don't want to spend an arm and a leg on a car that, you know, honestly, I'm not sure how it's even going to hold up, you know, at this point. So I wanted to kind of get something that was in a good price range, and I wanted to get something that was also going to be, you know, quality. And there were a lot of other options, you know. I looked at Amazon and stuff. I found some, you know, a pair of quick struts for like $100 and some, but then reading reviews on that stuff and didn't want to take the chance on getting anything like that. So then I decided to look at rockauto.com. I'm not sponsoring them or anything like that. This is actually the first time I've done rockauto.com. And they had a variety of different struts that you can get for the Aztek. They also have different sections. You can get like economy pricing, you know, like bare bone, you know, product, or you can go with original equipment, original spec, like OEM spec type stuff, and that's what I ordered here. So I did not get the bare minimum. As far as the brands that I had to choose from, I looked at everything. I tried to look at reviews online and stuff like that. And the one that I found that was reasonably priced, that was reasonably, you know, didn't have as many negative reviews and stuff, and a name that I actually know, I ordered some Monroe shocks. So I went with the Monroes because I actually know, you know, Monroe shocks. There were a couple of other, you know, ones that I can choose from. Like Gabriel was one of them. I never heard of them. Moog was another one, but I actually saw a lot of negative things about Moog. Those would have been priced just slightly higher than these. But I know Monroe. I talked to you know, some of the guys I work with in the shop, and they said Monroes are good. But I think that's just a hit or miss thing. So, like, you know, if you're gonna have a bad, you know, product, I don't think every product that you order is gonna be bad, you know. But I do think, you know, there might be things that could have some defects in them or something like that, but that doesn't mean the whole thing's bad. So hopefully, you know, these were manufactured good. I can't believe they're here. I'm so excited. And the weather is perfect, so I can either do these tonight or I can do them tomorrow. It's not hot. It's going to be nice, no rain. Let's open these bad boys up and see what they look like. Okay, so I just brought them outside since, you know, they're going to end up out here anyway. These are the Monroes 172113. That's the part number. These are specifically listed for the Pontiac Aztek and the Buick Rendezvous, and that's it. So I think these struts were specifically made for those two vehicles, which is kind of surprising because I thought maybe the like the minivans again would have shared the same part, but maybe not. Anyway, so let's open these up. Looks a lot better than those. Alright, so what do we got? We have some hardware. These are the nuts that go on the tower. Oh, it's heavy. I don't see the hardware that goes through the knuckles, so it's a good thing I kept those. I don't mind reusing those. All right, looks good. I'll take a closer look. Wife is calling. Okay, sorry about that. So let's see if we can stand this up. Probably can't try these mounts without it being mounted, but what's this say? Warning. Spring under compression, do not move. We'll just leave those on. Obviously we're not going to take them off. We already know what could happen when you take them off. So, but I don't know, it looks good. It looks like it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a good product. Check the other one out real quick. I'm kind of surprised that you don't get the knuckle bolts with them, but it's not that big a deal. Hardware. This boot looks like it's popped off. Yeah. Oh, maybe they're supposed to be like that. Okay, never mind. Maybe because it's not compressed yet. Seems fine here. And just for comparison, jeez, the driver's side strut puked out all the oil when I picked it up. So look at that. Definitely no good, since the spring is, you know, dead. And this one I don't think's leaking, but obviously no pressure. Yeah. All right, all right, so it's a lovely morning to be doing a new strut job. I have no idea what time it is. It's maybe before 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's nice and cool out here. It's like 60 degrees. So got the struts out and ready to go. I was trying to mess with one of these last night, but I didn't have too much time because I had other arrangements. But I think the bearing plates might not be lined up with the holes, I don't think. So what I might have to do is I might try to just insert the top half of the strut until the holes line up, and then we'll have to, once I get them kind of tightened under the hood a little bit, then we'll rotate it from the bottom to get the knuckle portion, you know, to get on there, because you can't really rotate this. You could probably try to do it with, like, I don't even know if you could wedge something between those studs and maybe keep your feet locked on the bottom, but I don't know. I'm gonna try to do it this way first and see if we can actually get it to rotate once it's in there. So we'll see how it goes. I'm probably not gonna film this entire process. Maybe just one step at a time. Because, well, for one, you need 2 hands to do it. And for 2, I just don't feel like wasting the time and the battery life and whatnot. So let's give it a go. Let's see if we can get it to line up in there, and I'll check back with you guys. Alright, so actually it wasn't that far off. So I just kind of didn't put it in straight ahead like this. Rotated it somewhat. It was a little bit easier, and all 3 studs are in the holes. It's close to how the knuckles should be. I took an old one of the old radiator clamps, hose clamps that I had, and I just set it there to keep it hoisted up for the time being. And you can see all 3 of our studs are there, so we'll just have to screw just a little bit. And okay, so it's safe now. So now we can wiggle the rest of it into place, and if we wanted to, we could probably put the other 2 on lightly. Obviously not tighten them down yet, but that'll keep them from coming out. So, that one's not in far enough yet. This back one over here, if I can get to it, is in good order. There we go. Cool. So we shouldn't lose it. And now we can work with getting the knuckle situated. One thing that I learned while I was researching some of this stuff last night too is I guess if there's a chance, if you buy you know, a strut that may have some elongated holes down here, then the alignment is, you know, could possibly be off when you go to, you know, drive the car. But these ones seem to just be pretty tight, you know, solid holes compared to, you know, the knuckle. So whether the alignment's going to be off or not yet, I don't know. I mean, there's a good chance it could be. I have a feeling the car probably needed an alignment all along anyway, just because of all the neglect that I've seen with this car since I've had it. So if it doesn't drive perfect, I'm not counting on it driving perfect, to be honest with you. So we'll just deal with it as it comes. So let me fight with this, get this all situated, and I'll check back with you guys. By the way, I took the brake caliper off of this side just so I can kind of bend this down a little further. I didn't want to take the tie rod off. Ugh. Looks like I'm probably going to have to replace the outer tie rod anyway, but we'll save that for another day. But anyway, so I took this off so I have more room to bring this down some, and I did it in the last, the last video. I did it on the other side when we had to do the CV boot clamp reattachment. If you didn't see that, that was a good time. But anyway, I took the brake caliper off over there, and we looked at the brake pads, and surprisingly enough, there was a decent amount of brake pads still on that side. I was really surprised. So I took this side off, you know, to get more room here, and just want to say there's actually a decent amount of brake pads on this side too. I'm really surprised that the brake pads are so good. They're rusty, of course, and these rotors are shot. Yeah, we will be getting new brakes on it, obviously. Right away, I don't know, now that I've seen that the brake pads on both sides are pretty decent, but I don't like the rotors. I'm sure the rotors are still tough, but obviously I don't want to keep these rotors you know, for long. So yeah, we'll go ahead and finish this up on this side, and I'll check back with you guys. Well, I've got it sitting along with the knuckle now. Problem is, these holes seem to be a little too high, and I can't think of a way to really compress this at the moment. If I tried to raise the control arm, that's just gonna, I think, bump that higher. It's not really gonna help me. So I'm gonna have to take this caliper back off. I didn't think I was going to have to keep it off, but I'll take this back off. And I decided I was going to try to take the tie rod off. I didn't want to. And upon doing so, I started to get this 18mm bolt down here at the bottom, but completely destroyed this this bushing, and whatever that nut is connected to, that whole stud is spinning, so it's loose. And you know, I'm trying to do is get this to come down a little more, and I don't think I can do that with the controller or the tie rod on there. So if I have that off, I feel like I can get a little more wiggle room. I think they even said in the instructions to this thing that you should take this off. So if I can get this off, I guess I'm gonna have to buy another one of them. At least it's not that challenging to change, but I just gotta try to get the rest of this off. I was trying to use my vice grips here to clip on the whatever in there to keep that stud from spinning. But if I can't get it, you know what's gonna happen. We're gonna hack it off. I don't want to do that, so I'll keep working at that. We'll get these holes lined up at some point, and then I should just be able to tighten everything back down. Well, worst case, I had to cut the tie rod off, so now we need an outer tie rod. This is all the bushing. It just all flaked off anyway, so it needed to be replaced. But it did give me more bounce to get the knuckle bolts in, and now I'm just completing the hammering in process. So I might see if lifting this up might make it a little easier at this point. And then I could see how it's sitting up above too. And while I've got the tension on it down, or you know, pushed up there, I'm going to take the time now, since there's pressure on it, we're going to tighten these down and at least get that completed. Alright, so we got it tight on the top, tight on the bottom, and sacrificed one outer tie rod. Rest in peace. Alright, so this side is now in place for the most part. Just got to tighten everything down. The mount on the top of this one was way off, so when I got the mount or the plate up there to line up, the knuckle piece was actually way over here, like off to the side. So I just used this to go through the bottom and carefully pried to spin them around. So it is how it is. I did not have to take the outer tie rod off of this side. In fact, this bushing on this tie rod looks pretty decent. So who knows? I don't know what the deal is with the other one. Maybe this one was replaced. So, but I didn't have to take it off. I still had enough room. My my CV boot is still attached. Still very messy, but nonetheless, it is still attached at this time. Didn't have to take the brake caliper off. So I got the jack under the brake now. So now all we gotta do is tighten these down and tighten the two knuckle bolts down, and I think technically this side is done. Okie dokie, folks. So we're tightened at the top, we're tightened at the bottom, and there we go. She finally has her new struts. Alright. Really wasn't that bad once you get the plates lined up through the top of the strut tower. It might be easier if you have somebody else help you, though. Have somebody here to maybe put the nut on that first stud that comes through. But I just used for the passenger side, I had a block of wood that I placed over the axle to hold it up, and then on the driver's side I had a little tiny radiator hose clamp that was used. That's it. She's got struts. This means I can put the wiper motor assembly back in and actually put everything under the hood back where it should be. So I think I'm going to take a quick break because even though it's cool out here, the sun is roasting me. So we'll come out, we'll put everything back under the hood, and then I might call it a day. I might see how much a tie rod is. I might do that today. We'll see. But anyway, let me take a break. We'll take care of everything under the hood. Alright, so after fighting with the wiper motor assembly, trying to get it to go all the way up and across, now we just have to tighten down these 4 10mm bolts, and the wiper motor is completely in. Also keep in mind, these little 10mm bolts here, they are not that thick, so do not over tighten them. You just want to snug them up, because you will end up rounding them out if you keep trying to tighten them too much. Then we put on the plastic cowl guard, and at the bottom we have all these little holes, and in those holes sit these little push rivets. And might I add, they get pretty fragile over the years, so if I have to take these out again, there's a chance that they may not make it a second time. But I got 2 more to put in, so we got all the bottom ones lined up. I got one to put here. Oh, maybe. Okay, now we get the little nail part of it. Boom. And the last one over here. And this one here. And boom. Windshield cowl is now in place. Now I get to put the wipers back on, and that's going to be fun trying to get those aligned. Also, in the very beginning of this process, I took this bar and this bar off of the wiper transmission, thinking that I can work around without having to take out the entire motor, but I did have to take out the whole motor, so that was unnecessary. Trying to get these back in, especially after you put the motor back in place, was fun. But they're in there now. I believe the wipers are actually still in their off position. You can't really, mess with these. You can't turn the motor or anything when it's not on. So these are in the position that they were in before I took it out, and those were off. So now I just have to kind of maybe use the wiper marks on the windshield as a guide to where they were sitting when I took them off. Okay, wiper arms are on, and they look to be in about the same position that they were when they came off. So those are tightened down with the 15mm bolts. Don't forget to take your washer fluid line, shove it through here, that little notch, and then clip the line into these little lines going across the thing. And now all we got to do is take the weather stripping and place it across here, and that's it. It's done. All done over here. Wow, she's sitting a little higher than original. Actually, guys, I'm kidding. The ramp or the jack is still on this side, so yeah, she's still off the ground. But that side is pretty much all done. I got the wheel back on it, and the stand is kind of sitting almost in the middle, so I think that's why it's sitting high like that. Hopefully that's the reason why it's sitting high like that. I don't know if I'm doing the tie rod today. I may go to the junkyard and just maybe find a used one, because I'm not replacing the other side. So if I could find one that's decently used for nearly half the price for now, I might do that. So maybe sometime either this afternoon or tomorrow, I'll go out there and we'll pull, maybe we'll pull a used tie rod, just for now anyway. So, but that's it. She's finally got her struts. So happy. And I think that's really all that I have for this video. Am I gonna film the tie rod? I don't know. There's really not much to that. At least I hope there's not much to that. So I don't know. We'll see. got a bit of an arts and crafts project coming up in the next vlog though, so stay tuned. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Check out teespring.com/stores/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. That's all I've got for today, guys. So until next time, take care.